What's up? Tyler, Keith, Nick from the IndieMetalVault.com. You wrote an article a while ago.
Yep, rank and file of all of the Overkill albums.
Yeah. So today we are putting every Overkill album in an order. This is definitely the most albums we've done.
Yeah.
Pretty sure because Priest has 18 albums.
On one shot.
Yeah, right.
So we're here to talk about all 19 Overkill albums. Overkill's had such a long and great career, and so this was an interesting list to put together, for sure. Basically, we all make our own list, then we have a point system, and we kind of put them in a general order, and then figure it out from there. But this is it. This is the only Overkill ranking.
Yeah.
None of the other ones count.
This is one that matters.
Don't listen to other people.
No, definitely not.
No.
All right. So we have a lot of albums to get into. Let's get into it. Starting at number 19 is Relic 14?
Relics. Or just Relics 14.
Whatever the song is.
2005.
Yeah.
What a shit show of an album.
I have one song that I can say good things about, and that's the closer, Old School.
Old School.
And to be honest, that's a pretty cheap cop-out because it sounds nothing like the rest of the album. It's obviously a throwback to the good old days, so of course it's going to sound cool, but that's about it.
Yeah. To me, with this album, it's the production.
Yes, I was about to say it's overcooked. So in my article, I actually described it like burnt waffle fries.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to describe it.
I think the only actual song from the rest of the album that I like, and it's really only because I like the choruses, is Bats in the Belfry, and that's it. Like, even that's like, that's it. Yeah. This album's I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you much of the rest of the album.
I tune out every time this album is even put on. It's never put on willingly.
It's also 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
50 minutes of that.
Way too much. Way too much. So number 18, we have W.F.O, or Wide Fucking Open.
Yep.
From 1994. I mean, this was the bottom for you.
This was kind of like, whereas there's a couple other albums before that where they kind of, I feel like Overkill kind of starts to lose me a little bit. This is kind of like the one where I was just like, a lot of them just kind of bleed together to me. I mean, the Wait's okay. I like that song. I'm trying to think of this.
I actually like
Bastard Nation's pretty hard.
Yes, I was gonna say. So they played Bastard Nation the only time I saw them, and believe it or not, this is Bobby Blitz's favorite album. He announced that when he played it. I love that song, and I ranked this personally somewhere like in the middle, and I think most of them are fun, but weirdly put together, and the bass is way too fucking high in the mix.
100%. That's what I was going to bring up when I was listening to this. I'm like, this bass is literally distracting.
It's like the Seinfeld bass licks over top of every song. Yes. And I like to chalk it up because I think Dee Verney got robbed in some of the earlier albums, so it's almost like they were making it up for him on this one.
Yeah.
But
to me, this album's just bores me. I mean, outside of a couple tracks, like Bastard Nation's definitely the best one, but I don't know. I just cannot get through it most of the time.
Gasoline Dream, the closer. It's a longer one.
Yeah. So number 17, we have 2000's Bloodletting. I think hands down the worst album art Overkill's ever had.
Yes.
Pretty bad.
I couldn't tell you what that is.
I mean, it looks like an awful album cover from like Aborted or some shit. Yeah. This album's weird, and the production's really weird, but there's some thrashiness in here that I like. One I'm missing, Devil Comes Out to Play.
Left Hand Man.
The
chorus in that is genius. The lyrics and the way it's like laid out.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. Bobby Blitz sounds really weird in some spots on this one, but overall, I mean, it's not terrible.
No,
it's not the worst. This is also because it kind of like the early 2000s, another like weird time. I really like the first two tracks. Yeah, I like the opening again. Like
Thunderhead is good.
As I stated in our top songs, Overkill top songs. Overkill knows how to start an album. Usually with the first song or two is usually boom.
Yeah.
There is one album where I think the first song is the worst one, but we'll get to that.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean it's not a bad album for sure. And there's definitely some songs. I think from here on out, there's usually a handful of songs on every album, at least. If not, the whole album's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And I think from here on out, like these albums are genuinely pretty good for the most part. Just some are better than others. So next up at number 16, we have Killbox 13, an album that I think is good for sure, and there's some good thrashiness going on, some good riffs. I really like the sound of Dying. Until I Die has some cool guitar work going on. Devil by the Tail is a cool track, but to me, it's just these songs just don't stick the landing in terms of they're not overly memorable.
To me, they merely exist.
Yeah.
There's nothing. This is, which depending on your perception, might even be worse. This is just like, to me, like a lot of this album's kind of, it's just there. Which is forgettable is almost sometimes worse than bad, because at least you remember a bad album.
Yeah. So I have it second from the bottom because at least the production doesn't physically hurt.
Right.
But there's nothing about this that I really enjoy.
Right. And that's why I think it's so weird about Relics, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Like, you have Bloodletting, which has a kind of a weird sound to it, but it's a little bit more on the heavier, crunchier side. Mm-hmm. Then they kind of clean it up a little bit with Killbox 13, and then it's just off the fucking rails. Like, what happened? It's just crazy. Number 15, we have 1999's Necroshine.
Oh, yes.
Which, at least the title track made it on 2 of our top 10 Overkill lists.
Yeah.
So
good.
To me, this album is one of those where the title track rules over all of it, and I can't. It almost seems like blasphemy to put it so low because of how great the title track is. But the problem is none of the other songs live up to it. But I do think some of these though, like I Am Fear, 80 Cycles, Stone Cold Jesus, have a lot of like. They tapered down from the album before it, but the groove hooks are definitely there. Yeah. It's just not as memorable as it could be.
Yeah, I also like Forked Tongue Kiss. And Stone Cold Jesus was a really good one.
Yeah.
But it's very much like, boom, Necroshine, and then it's kind of like,
Forked Tongue Kiss to me is a song that vocally I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's a weird song vocally.
Yeah, it's fine.
The other song that I really like on here is My December.
Oh,
My
yeah.
December's very
good call.
I love the driving, just drum beat and guitar work going on, and then just the whole vocal hook of that song is really well done. I mean, when this album starts between Necroshine and My December, you could be like, wow, this is maybe one of the best openings to any Overkill album. Mm-hmm. And then to me, I just feel like it kind of drops off a lot. But I mean, there's a couple there, like Stone Cold Jesus is good for sure. But yeah. All right, number 14, we have 1996, The Killing Kind. What a weird album, but I like it.
So I had this one a little higher than you guys, I believe, and there are a couple standouts. Number one, this was their first full-on unapologetic groove metal album. Yeah. They had been tampering with the style a lot before then, but this is where they completed that sound, and I think Blitz's attitude was even harsher than some of the thrash in this one. So Let Me Shut That For You is a great example, especially with the sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up at the end. And The Morning After is another ballad that still has that darker tinge to it, not quite to the level of The Years of Decay, but it was a softie that was meant to be unsettling, and I really like that song.
Yeah. I like, I think probably my 2 favorite tracks are Battle and Boldface Pagan Stomp.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's fun. My favorite song is The Cleansing.
Yeah.
Cleansing is fucking heavy. There's a lot of good stuff. I'll be totally honest with you, I never heard a damn thing from this album until we decided we were doing this.
Oh, really?
And upon first listen, I'm like, where has this been? I like genuinely really liked a lot of songs on here, and I agree with you on the attitude. It's just it is so in your face from start to finish. It's awesome. And I think it's following W.F.O. just to come out with something even more in your face and a lot harder. It's pretty awesome.
Cleaned up.
Yeah. Number 13, I Hear Black from 1993.
Another one that I put higher. So this is by far the most standalone Overkill. Like, of all of their eras, you can at least place a couple next to each other, but this one really doesn't stand next to any of them because it hits thrash, it hits groove metal, it hits traditional metal, and it hits doom metal. And I thought Shades of Grey was like that's Sabbathy from start to finish, and where World of Hurt almost sounds like a Cowboys from Hell ripoff, like that at the beginning.
Yeah, I like. Again, my thing is, I again with Overkill and their stuff. The first two tracks, I like Dreaming in Colombian. And the title track was both really good.
The title track, if I recall, is very traditional in style. Like it's just like a heavy metal song.
Yeah, very much so.
I'll say this: I Hear Black is very inconsistent. It's not a very fluid release, but I like the ideas that are present on it. And like I said earlier, it's like one of the only ones where Green is not at all present.
It's interesting.
Never noticed that until you pointed it out.
Yeah,
right on.
Yeah, I never noticed that either. And this one I had second from the bottom. This is one I just cannot get through every time I listen to it. And I mean, I get there's a lot of different stuff going on in this one, but man, I don't know. It's just something about the songwriting just does not catch me on almost any song. And especially following Horoscope, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, okay, that's a lot to follow up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Let's see, number 12, Immortalis from 2007.
Oof.
I forget where I had this one at. I think it was like...
You had this one pretty
I think I had like 8, something like that. Yeah, I it's one of those things where I probably couldn't even point out where on the album. I just like sort of like the consistency of the album. I think Skull and Bones and Devils in the Mist I really do like, and then also probably I like Overkill 5. Since, it's like the fifth one. It's an interesting one. I like that one. So it's different.
So it's funny you bring up Devils in the Mist because that is the song I was talking about earlier where I think it's a horrible opener. Bobby Blitz's scream at the end of that is laughable. Instead of sounding furious like he normally does, he sounds like a scared child. And the first time I heard it, I actually busted up laughing. There's been worse, but this is definitely one of the worst albums in my opinion. It's very transitional. It took us from
100%.
It took us from Relics to Ironbound, which is cool, but musically I don't get much out of it.
I think this album is sort of like proto Ironbound, which I think is part of the reason why I like it so much because it's a little bit of a look into where they're going to go, but it's also like, here's where we've been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know this one gets a lot of flack too because they kind of tone things down a lot in terms of their guitar riffs are very straightforward. And I kind of like that with certain songs. Like I think of Hellish Pride or Walk Through Fire or What It Takes. Like those songs aren't the greatest Overkill songs in the world, but I like the simplicity of their guitar riffs and it kind of works a lot. I also like my favorite track on here is Skull and Bones, and it has Randy Blythe from Lamb of God.
Yeah,
that's I couldn't remember. I knew there was one that featured another singer, but I couldn't remember which song it was.
And he sings like a whole verse and everything.
It's cool. It took me a while until I recognized it. I was like, there's a couple people this could be, and I'm like,
yeah.
But I agree with you. It's a transitional album, and I also think looking at it now in 2020, if you listen to Ironbound and that production, and then go backwards to this one, it's like whoa. And then you go even further backwards to Relics, and it's like whoa, no. So I mean, we'll get to Ironbound, but that transition from this album to Ironbound is like it's kind of mind blowing.
Right on.
Honestly, number 11. White Devil Armory from 2014.
Yeah, that's the album. At least, like, I don't know. This is I think this is probably the weakest of their newer stuff. I mean, I think
since Ironbound, I would say
the surrounding albums kind of make it shadow out.
Yeah, it's like because the only songs that I think are really I really remember too much are like The Armorist and King of the Rat Bastards. Like the production and whatnot of this album is good, and going back and listening to it because I hadn't really ever listened to it since we reviewed it. That was like really the only time, and I kind of went back and I'm like, oh yeah, I like the production, I like a lot of the riffage, but like it's more of a thing where there's really only those two standout tracks to me. It's like probably a very just okay consistency. For the rest of it, that makes sense.
I say those two, and It's All Yours, because that opening riff is one of the best that they ever wrote in the newer days. The vocals, the way they follow it up and keep like a punchy energy is really top notch. Also, if you get this one, I recommend getting the special edition that has a cover of Miss Misery by Nazareth. Incredible cover. I don't even know if you guys have heard that, but it's...
I know the song. I just never heard that cover.
They did a good job with that cover.
Cool. I don't hate this album. It's just that of their new run, it just doesn't click with me all the time. But there's some songs on here, like Armorist, Bitter Pill, I like a lot. Mm-hmm. I think that one's heavy. King of the Rat Bastards is good. I mean, it's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think even of their recent run, if you're talking even lead singles, Armorist just is not even close to any of the lead singles from their last 5 albums.
It's an aggressively okay album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So number 10, we have 1997's From the Underground and Below.
Thank me for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is really high on my list. I think this is where they perfected the groove metal sound.
Oh, yeah.
They introduced it the heaviest on The Killing Kind, which we talked about, but this is where they made it the best, and I think it never topped this regarding groove metal. Fucked is an incredible song. I guess that's what it's spelled F-U-C-T, like an acronym. The chorus is incredible. The opening riff hits you in the face immediately. I also love It Lives, how it opens up and lets all those like start, stop, from start to finish. And of course it's got Promises, the warmest Overkill song probably in existence, which I talked about in my top 10 Overkill songs.
Yeah. This album is just fucking heavy, man.
Yeah, the rip and tear.
Yes, it does not give a flying fuck about anything. It's just bam, straight to the mouth, and it's all in the production on this one to me, because everything is just a wall of riffs in your face constantly, and then I just think when it comes to their groove stuff, like Bobby Blitz on this one perfected even his vocals for this style that Overkill's going for in this one. This is like, you could say, I only listen to the 80s stuff or I only listen to their new stuff, but don't overlook this album because there's a lot of really good stuff on it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe my thing, I had this kind of low. Maybe it's just because I didn't get to, because I never listened to much of their 90s stuff prior to this. So I probably maybe need to listen to it more. But I mean, I do like It Lives. Save Me was another song I did. And probably my favorite is probably The Rip and Tear.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like that song.
So the thing about this album is too, like, it's not much of a grower. I kind of think most people either hate it or they love it, like me. I know a lot of people who put this at the bottom. So you're definitely not alone in that.
That's fair.
I put it up there, like it's right below the essentials for me.
Yeah, it's good. All right, so from here on out, I feel like it gets tough.
Yes.
Honestly, you could start shuffling albums around anywhere, and it's like, okay, I can get behind that.
Absolutely.
But at number 9, we have 1988's Under the Influence.
Oh yes. So this one is I think this is their most rock and roll. And I touched on that because Hello from the Gutter is also in my top 10 list, and that opening lick very much touches on that. But I think the sequence of Shred, which, by the way, can we talk about that, how he just says, go, and they nail you with like a wall. You can't even really comprehend what they're doing. It's just a wall of sound, and I love it. And then, of course, End of the Line is catchy. It's got that same energy from the 70s. The time after time, the end, like it's they build on each other.
Yeah.
Shred's good, and Never Say Never, Hello from the Gutter. Yeah, I like, cause wait, I'm forgetting the order. I like, because this is almost like the build-up to Years of Decay.
Yes.
I kind of like that, very much so.
Definitely.
Can we also agree that part of the reason why this album is a little overlooked is because it's surrounded by two of the most universally hailed Overkill records?
Yeah, I agree. I also just think there's a lot of good songs on here, but to me the songwriting does not even come close to the Years of Decay or Taking
For sure, absolutely. It's choppier, and I would even go to say that the last two songs in particular taper down a little bit because they're both longer and they both don't do a whole lot. I think Overkill 3
Drunken Wisdom's another one that just never has really done anything.
Yeah,
to me, but
it's basically side A of this is perfect. Side B, it's like pick your flavors. Yeah. Like it's got End of the Line on side B, but other than that, you got to kind of dig through it.
Yeah, I know Hello from the Gutter's the most popular song on here, but Shred's my favorite.
It's between those two for me.
Yes, so good. All right, number 8, we have 2017's The Grinding Wheel. Talk about an album opener, though. Maybe
it has my favorite Overkill. Oh no, was it my favorite? Yeah, it was my favorite Overkill track.
Yeah.
On here. I think I had this album, which I think on my personal list, I had this just under Wings of War. I do like a lot of this album. This album does get a little weird in the middle, which is kind of why I put it under Wings of War. It's like it's just like I don't know how to describe it because like probably up until the first three tracks and the last 3 tracks are all really really good, and then the middle songs they're also good, but like
I like Come Heavy. I'll say that.
Come Heavy is good.
It's a very clever play on words.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the song that really I'm just like what. And it's a weird song, and I go back and forth on enjoying the song and being like, it's red, white, and blue.
Yeah, I
go back and forth because I'm like, song's really, I don't know, man.
It's strange.
I like that one,
but I love the middle section
because of it being strange.
Yeah.
And then to the opposite end of that, "Goddamn Trouble" is actually my favorite song from this because it's the opposite of the rest of it. It's straightforward and in your face, and that little cymbal tap leading into the like "Goddamn Trouble," never gonna stop, like. And again, the attitude, the snarl, it's all back in full force on that one.
Agreed. Yeah, I like this album a lot. And Shine On's another one that I like a lot. But yeah, I think like Shine On, Come Heavy, Goddamn Trouble, Mean Green Killing Machine. There's a handful of just awesome.
They're just
songs.
Good, rotten fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 7, we have their most recent album, The Wings of War.
Yeah, another good opener. Last Man Standing is good.
Yeah.
I think the first 4 tracks all slap.
Believe in the Fight.
Believe in the Fight's really good.
Awesome.
I like Head of a Pin and Batshit Crazy's good.
Yes, but I was gonna say Batshit Crazy definitely one of the standouts on here. And we were talking about earlier, Welcome to the Garden State.
Yeah.
That ending is a great play on that Bruce Springsteen ending.
Yeah.
They had never noticed it before today, and now you have to listen to Born to Run, the last 30 seconds of it, and then listen to the last 30 seconds of this.
Yeah, he did. Let's show. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, but yeah, this sounds great.
Also, Hole in My Soul. I like that as a closer song. I like that one a lot.
I like Where Few Dare to Walk, and to me that one kind of brings me back a little to like Horoscope days. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really good hooks in that song, but even like Distortion, it just has a fucking banging chorus.
Yeah, of course.
It's just a really kind of cool, weird guitar riff, and I'll be honest with you, when I first listened to this album, I was like, it's good, but I can't. It didn't click immediately, but once it clicks, you're like, wow, there's a lot of great stuff on here.
Yeah.
So weirdly, I was actually the opposite. I was thrilled when it came out, and I actually kind of dialed back a little since. I don't think it's bad. The few tracks that stand out are some of my favorites, but I actually do think I would put The Grinding Wheel above this one, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. All right. At number 6, we have their debut album, Feel the Fire.
Higher.
Oh man, I love this album. Of course, there's Rotten to the Core, which is just such a classic Overkill song. But there's so much kind of deeper cuts in here that are great. Hammerhead is amazing.
That drum intro.
Yes. Hammerhead, besides Rotten to the Core, Hammerhead might be my favorite.
Yeah.
Overkill is
the original
one. The way they like fade that in and then start dropping the main verse on top of that, and then the whole thing just like explodes.
Yeah.
Even Raise the Dead. I like Raise the Dead.
Yes, I was gonna hit that next. And that scream at the end, that is how screaming should be in metal. Yeah. Or at least this kind of metal.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when it comes to just best debuts of any band, this is definitely one of the best out there.
For sure. And like I said, Feel the Fire is very Iron Maiden-y. It throws back to the first album by Iron Maiden. Also, can we talk about that cover of Sonic Reducer?
Who's that by?
Or I'm sorry, the band that
I can look it up.
Now I can, look it up. I know it, and I'm drawing a blank. I wanted to say the Plasmatics, but I know that is not right. That was Destruction that covered them.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, Sonic Reducer.
Dead Boys?
That's it, the Dead Boys.
Okay.
Some of you are going to kill me for that. I should know that. Like that's punk. It's they're punk. They were a big influence for the earlier Overkill albums.
Okay.
So
cool. Yeah, and it's good. And also too, sometimes with a thrash debut, especially back in the 80s, the production might not have fully been there, but it's still good.
That's why I like it though.
This album just nails it from the start. It has such a great feel to it.
Yeah. The biggest thing that separates this one from Taking Over is that Taking Over is a lot more cleaned up, where this one's just chaotic.
Yeah, definitely. So number 5, we have 2010's Ironbound, and I need to have a word with you, sir.
I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, because this is my favorite.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's definitely my hottest take, but I'll let you guys cover this one. I don't dislike it. There are 4 albums I put below it, but it does not have the magic that I think everyone else... I don't think it has... I don't see the magic that everybody else sees.
I mean, I think... Because, like I've said a couple times throughout this list and the other one, Overkill is probably one of the best bands at, like, just starting an album. And the first 4 tracks in this album are fucking golden to me. The Green and the Black is great. I mean, Ironbound and Bring Me the Night were both on my top 10 list. And The Goal Is Your Soul.
That's my favorite one.
But then even, like, I feel like the album doesn't really dip at any point. And I think that's maybe the key for why I think there's something to like on just about every song on this album. And I think that's the main thing. I think it's the most consistent. Even on some of the 4 albums that we have above this, there's maybe higher highs. But I think this one, even if it doesn't reach those same heights necessarily, it's a fairly consistent, throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is nice, because a lot of times, with most albums, I feel, it's like, boom, the beginning and then the end. And then you get lost in the middle. But I don't think there's really that much to get lost in the middle here, so, personally.
And, this album kind of revived Overkill.
Yeah, it absolutely did. It breathed so much life back into their sound, especially following the stretch of albums before it.
Definitely, and I mean they've been trucking along their entire career, but this album really kind of brought them back, and to be kind of why everyone fell in love with them in the first place with those early thrash albums. And this was the first Overkill album I've ever listened to, so it kind of has a special place for me as well. And I think some of the songs in the back half are just fucking awesome, such as Endless War and then In the Head and the Heart. That chorus is so good. It's such a weird song, but I love that chorus so much. And so I mean, what don't you see in this one?
It's not that it's not what isn't there. It's just I'm sorry, that is my problem. I can't find standout tracks. The writing itself is decent, it's consistent, it's fluid, and they have good production. But I can't really pick out songs that I'm like, yeah, this one rules, this one rules. The Goal Is Your Soul. I mean, that's probably my closest to an obvious standout, but I couldn't... It might also be the hype that everyone puts around it, but...
It is a very hyped album.
So I went into it with greater expectations when I first listened to it than what I got.
Yeah. See, this is why I love making these videos.
Yeah,
because you can have you have a hot take.
Yeah,
right.
And it's always fun because we kind of in the past doing them. It's like, oh yeah, we're planning on doing it. We're doing these. I've been listening to these albums, but we most of the time don't really talk about it until we get to hear
in together,
which is always fun.
Right.
Yeah. It's always interesting hearing others.
It's also nice because I feel like a lot of times, at least when me and you do it, it's like this is the list, and it's not that hard to do. Whereas this one was a little bit more like,
it's a bigger list. It's more varied, and you've entered a third party.
Yeah. So it's just like, whoa, okay, let's
definitely
quite a few hot takes in various parts in this album. I think I had the next one, which is fair. So
and hey, internet, it's okay to have different opinions than other people.
Despite popular belief.
Yeah, definitely. So number 4, we have 1987's Taking Over, their second album, and you had this one a little bit lower.
I had it a little bit lower. I think it's again, which is, this might just be me listening to music, like a personal thing of why, which was a good bit of these albums outside of probably Years of Decay, Horoscope, and then Ironbound forward. I had not listened to. And like, just because I don't really listen to albums, I listen to like songs most of the time. It's like I don't really go and be like, I'm gonna put an album on. I'll be like, I'm gonna put a song on, and like, cool. Now I'll go listen to a different song, and that's just kind of legit. So, which is something I've ran into a lot of times when we've done this, which is like, I ran into the same thing with Priest. I heard a lot of songs from early Priest, but I'm like, a lot of those albums I never listened to. So I'm like, that was sort of the thing. Was like I listened to Wrecking Crew and Deny the Cross. I think the other ones was Overkill and Electroviolence I had listened to, but like the rest of the album I had never really listened to, so I think that's part of it. Is that
you don't have
the staying power? Is like, I think that's probably a lot of it. Because, like I said, again, great openers, Deny the Cross and Wrecking Crew. I mean, Wrecking Crew is another live staple of theirs, and like I said, I do like Overkill.
They weirdly did not play that one.
Really?
Wrecking Crew. They did Deny the Cross, but not that one.
Interesting.
I'm the opposite.
I don't know if they played Deny the Cross. When either times we saw them. At least the times that I've seen them. The 2 times I've seen them, they did. So
yeah.
I'm actually the opposite of you. I prefer the full albums. Like, I usually will put on a whole album from start to finish. This was one of the first ones I listened to, and I love everything about it.
It's great.
In Union We Stand is very chanty. There's another fun play on words for Fatal If Swallowed. I really like... we already talked about the first 2 tracks. Wrecking Crews, the chaotic feel of that one is one of my favorite moments on the whole thing. And
to me, a standout track that I feel is very underrated is Use Your Head.
Yes, why don't you use your head?
Yes.
Power Surge. Power Surge is this album's version of Hammerhead. I feel like it's very drum heavy. It's very the chorus is just, that's the word pretty much, and then it does a little break where things slow down a little bit, and of course Electroviolence too. It's also heavy in the chorus, and would have been cool to end on. Overkill 2 is probably my least favorite song on it, just because again I never saw it necessary for them to keep making sequels to that song. I thought Overkill it was perfect on its own, and it's not a bad song, but it certainly isn't as good as the rest of this album, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird that they kept doing that. But it is what it is. I like the weirdness and fun of electro violence as well.
Oh yeah,
so good. I was listening to that today, and I was fucking jamming, just dancing around my house. Why not? That was a fun one. Yeah, I love this album. Number 3, the highest of all the modern Overkill albums, The Electric Age.
Yeah.
So I want to open this one with saying this is my version of Ironbound. So a lot of people love the life that Ironbound breathed back into the band. I think this took that, but gave it more hooks and better delivery. I am a little biased because this is also the one that came out when I was first getting into the band. So 2012. Same. 8 years ago, I would have been about 16. Yeah. So that's where some of the magic lies. Obviously, like I said, Electric Rattlesnake really captures all of it. But I think even like Drop the Hammer Down and 21st Century Man delivered riff after riff after riff. Yeah. And Good Night was a perfect way to go out. And even, again, with the openers, Come and Get It doesn't let off at all.
No, not the slightest.
Yeah.
This is also the first Overkill album I listened to, and I think the first 4 tracks, again, openers, all great. Also, like Drop the Hammer Down, and was it Old Wounds, New Scars? And those songs I like a lot. So,
and let me clarify: it's not the first one I ever heard. It was the first one to come out, like that I remember being released. Yeah. The first album was the first one I ever heard.
No, I think this is the first one. Like I think Electric Rattlesnake was the very first song I'd ever heard by Overkill.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, like, I had Ironbound above this one, literally just by 1 slot. But I could go back and forth. I will not deny, though, this album is way more fun to listen to than Ironbound. I mean, these songs are just Come and Get It and Black Days, Electric Rattlesnake. Like, just they bring the energy, they bring the fun that Overkill can have a lot of times. And yeah, this one's just such a great album.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, number 2, Horoscope.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking love Horoscope.
So before we dive into this, am I the only person at this table that loves that Frankenstein cover?
I like it.
Okay, some people thought it was corny, and it definitely doesn't fit as well, but I love what they did to it.
Yeah, it doesn't fully fit with the album, but it's a good cover.
Yeah, more good, rotten fun.
Yeah, this is my personal favorite Overkill album, and to me, it's just the fucking raw heaviness and energy from start to finish, and even when they slow things down with Horoscope, it's just riff after riff, and just taking something like Blood Money that has just such a chunky fucking thrash riff, but then Thanks for Nothing brings the attitude that Overkill's known for, and then one of the heaviest songs that they have in such a great chorus is Nice Day for a Funeral.
I'm so glad you said that one, because that was what I was going to bring that one up, and I like the little progression of the solo when they get higher and higher and then just breaks into that. Yes, that song is incredible. The title track is one of my favorite Overkill songs of all time. So I love the doomy crawl to it, and the chorus. I don't even think I talked about that when we were going on, but like it's just so. I want to say cyclic in a good way.
Yeah.
Usually things like that are bad, but they pulled it off so well.
Yeah.
And the lyrics, of course.
Yeah.
I'm nothing bad.
Yeah.
But you guys covered it. It's a great album.
Yeah.
And it's interesting going into the 90s too, when grunge kind of sort of started to take off, and then they definitely clearly kind of started to react to that with the next album, and I Hear Black.
Right, for sure.
Such an interesting time. But man, I love this album. It never gets old to me. But number one, best Overkill album goes to The Years of Decay.
Yeah.
I fucking live and die for this. 3 of my favorite Overkill songs are from this. 3 of my top 10.
Yeah.
So, I already went on a spiel about the title track and Elimination before, but that is so haunting. The making the acoustic guitars sound so uncomfortable and cold, and just the feeling of abandonment and rotting. I'm repeating myself, but I can't say it enough.
Yeah.
And then the Elimination I Hate duo, obviously, that's got that punk energy you were talking about, and the lyrics, the progression, the shifts in tone in Elimination. But yeah, please don't let me hog everything, because I will talk about this album for an hour if I'm allowed to.
I think like Ironbound. I don't think there's a dip at all in this album. This album's great from start to finish. Like, I mean, from Time to Kill and like you said, Elimination, I Hate. I fucking love Evil Never Dies.
Yeah,
and shit like that.
Can we talk about how doomy playing with Skull Crusher, playing with fire, and who tends the fire?
Yes.
It's like a continuation of that, but they broke it up a little bit with the Birth of Tension, which was cool because that one's the total opposite. It's not slow at all. It's just like constant. Like there's no stopping.
Yeah. Who Tends the Fire always gives me like Metallica Orion vibes a little bit with the rhythm kind of coming in. Just creeping in into the mix is always fun.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's this ridiculous idea about how this is a Master of Puppets ripoff. But it's influence, not ripoff. And if that's the case, then fucking like 90% of thrash bands are just Master of Puppets ripoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, and to me, like Elimination is just peak Overkill. That song is fucking perfection, and it's so mean, it's so heavy, and Bobby Blitz sounds just perfect. And that is the song where it's like, without Bobby Blitz, this band does not work.
Correct.
No.
And I want to point out how Evil Never Dies is the placement of that was smart, because it comes right after the title track, which is so cold and haunting, and then this just immediately brings back the fire, and it's possibly the fastest one on it, because the riff is just, like there's no, and then they do the start stops that kind of would project into what was to come with Horoscope.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that song a lot, and I kind of have the opposite feeling. I wish The Years of Decay
closed this.
Yeah,
I mean that certainly would have worked too.
It's one of those songs when you listen to the album and you just kind of go like, wow, and you're left kind of breathless in a way, and it's like that would have just been a great way to end it. But I can see the reasoning, kind of like you're saying, behind
reprise.
Let's just bring it back to the thrashiness and end on that, because this is something different for us and all this stuff. But
I think the problem is, like, if they had thrown that on the first half, the B side would have been way too loaded with the Doom riffs.
Yeah,
because like a lot of the slower moments are or like from playing with spiders and Skull Crusher on.
Yeah.
Also, I can never do the Skull Crusher exercise with dumbbells without thinking of this song. Every time I do it, I'm like, ooh, doing the Overkill workout.
Yeah.
No matter how dorky that sounds.
Anything else?
No.
What a fun time. Let us know your ranking and what a fucking band.
Yeah,
man.
To be good, to remain for that many years and not lose the singer or switch the singer out and just put out such a massive back catalog. And I will admit, when I listened to this discography to do my article, it did get exhausting.
Because it's like there's almost 20 albums.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot.
It definitely is.
And they're all like about the same length. They're all like 50 minutes.
And I do not recommend listening to them from start to finish. The whole discography if you're new.
Yeah.
Chop it up, but it's worth checking out at least.
One could say it's a bit overkill to.
Oh no!
Stop.
But no, seriously, the other day, because a couple of them I never fully gave a shot. But then a couple of them I just wanted to refresh myself on. I listened to, what was it? W.F.O. through Relics in one day. And
that's grueling. That's brutal. The worst albums are all in that span.
It was fucking brutal. It felt like one of those days that just kept going and going, and I'm like, oh god.
I think I did something similar. I think I was driving, and like I think I listened from W.F.O. to probably not as far. I think I only made it to Bloodletting, but I was like, whoa, come on. Yeah.
Have you guys ever listened to Overkill?
No, I have not.
A little bit, yeah.
I actually own that, and it's very hit or miss. The punk covers obviously worked well. They cover "I'm Against It" by the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, "No Feelings," and some other heavy metal staples. Like they worked very well. Things that did not work, they did. "Changes" by Black Sabbath. I thought it was awkward as hell. Their cover of Kiss, Deuce.
Oh, that's I
love that. I like Kiss's version, but it didn't work as well for them.
I might have to listen to this. Well, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a break, and then maybe I'll come back and listen.
Oh, "Tyrant" by Judas Priest. They completely changed that, and it worked perfectly. Yeah. Like the vocal style is very like rough and rugged and hard, whereas Judas Priest is so clean and concise, and Halford, it's such a different energy. But I recommend listening to that one time too. Yeah. But we can't really rank that because it's not really fair to rank a covers album amongst original material.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for watching, listening. The next one we will be doing though is Ozzy Osbourne.
You guys really like letter O's.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Ozzy. Yeah. And then there's a couple other ones. We'll get to after that.
Yeah, we'll keep trucking along. So. Thanks for watching, listening. See ya.